Welcome to another episode of Inspired Voices. My name is Riera, and this is Mike Joudeh. What's up, bro?
Sir. What's up, man?
I appreciate you being here.
Of course.
Why don't you
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you tell everybody what you do?
Well, I'm Mike Joudeh, as Oliver mentioned, and I am a business owner. I run a moving company. I'm a husband and a father. I have 2 boys, and I like to work out and train MMA.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, you're still doing that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing it at another gym or something? Or
I'm doing it at a Gracie Raleigh.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like downtown Raleigh, right?
It was downtown Raleigh, but they moved to like off of Capitol Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
Wake Forest Road area.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so me and Mike used to do MMA training back in the days, 2012, 16, something like that.
2016, I believe. That's how we met.
Yeah. So it was fun, dude.
It was like between 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
When I was at the
Exactly.
Royal Tiger.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's start from the top, man. Where are you from?
I'm from Palestine originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where my family's from. I was born in Jordan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. We moved to the States when I was 6.
Okay. Was there a particular reason why you guys moved?
Well, I mean, everybody overseas, is trying to move to the States and, live the American dream and, I guess, chase that opportunity.
Yeah. I guess that's what your parents were trying to strive for, I guess.
Yeah. They applied in like the 80s.
Yeah.
To try to, come here, but they didn't get like their approval or whatever it's called until 2003, 2002, 2003.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So they just is it a process of where you just keep applying until you?
Yeah, and I think their process was faster than others because my dad's sister, lived here and she was a citizen and
Gotcha.
I think she helped out with the application process and whatnot, but it still took a good 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So yeah, my parents were here. They're from Venezuela, but they were trying to get their citizenship, and that took about 20 years.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah. Do you remember that, like traveling from there?
Yeah, I remember moving here to the States.
You were like, you probably like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I had a lot of friends in Jordan growing up, and I don't remember exactly why I didn't want to move. I just remember giving my parents a super hard time and saying, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave.
Yeah. You had a big family over there?
Yeah, I mean, I had, obviously my mom, my dad. I have a older sister, older brother, and another older sister. So brother and 2 sisters.
You guys all came over at the same time?
Yeah. Well, actually, my dad came before us.
Okay.
A couple months before us, try to secure a job and a place to live and whatnot. And it was funny, actually, because he would call me, and, they knew I didn't want to come. I was, just giving them a hard time. So he would call, every couple of days, and we'd talk. And every time I got on the phone with him, I'm like, hey, what did you buy me this time?
Oh, nice.
And they'd be like, well, I just bought a mansion.
Oh, shit.
And then the next time I called him, I was like, yeah, I just bought you a helicopter. It's parked on top of the mansion. And I just bought you a motorcycle. And
so he's getting you excited about it.
Yeah. And I bought you this, new car. And every time it's something new. And then when we came, it was like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Right, yeah. Disappointed.
Jackson, Tennessee.
Were you crying? Do you remember crying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I cried probably the whole way over on the plane, like a 12-hour ride.
I'm sure when you saw the apartment, too, it was like, where's the helicopter?
Yeah, and see, like in Jordan, it's like a lot of traffic. So like you would look outside and you would just see people walking and kids in the streets playing. I'm sure probably like in Venezuela it's similar to that. Just all the kids outside in the neighborhood playing, and then being in Jackson, Tennessee, looking out the window.
Damn.
There's nothing going on, and
whoa.
And
Yeah,
I
it's a
just,
culture shock.
yeah, I remember just crying and telling Mom, like, I want to go back. Like, I want to go back now.
Right.
She's like, no, we're not going back.
How long did that last? That temper tantrum?
I would say, probably like a week.
Okay, gotcha.
I remember going to school probably like the second day. So like we first landed in New York, and my uncle over there picked us up. And I remember giving him a hard time. It was snowing outside, and I wanted to go outside, and
Right,
he was yelling at me. Yeah. But then the next day we went to Tennessee. Got settled in, went to bed that night. The next morning I was going to school.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I spoke zero English.
What?
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
It was super tough.
Yeah. As a 6-year-old, especially.
Yeah, I remember like not understanding anything the teachers were saying, or any, what any of the kids were saying.
Right. All right, you got through that, man.
Bro, it was actually really tough. And one thing I remember is I'd be like running around in the hallways, and I would just, and you know how like teachers and like the beginning of school, they're just like standing in front of their doors.
Yeah.
It's like I'm running around, just full sprints through the hallways, and I just remember the teachers like yelling, walk, 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 and I had no idea what that meant. So it was, for some reason, like that word just like would freak me out.
Oh, interesting.
Because I had no idea what it meant.
Yeah, and they just kept yelling it at you.
Yeah, and it's just like almost like a movie scene where it's like, you're hearing voices or something just like from everywhere, and it's like monsters chasing you or whatever, and I'm just like sprinting through the hallway, and everyone's yelling, walk, 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 and I'm just like,
to you, it's just a noise.
what the hell's going on?
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like,
how did you learn English then? Just through school or something? Or?
Yeah, pretty much through school.
Yeah. Not like Sesame Street or anything like that?
Maybe a little bit of like TV.
Yeah.
But like obviously we had to do like ESL and whatnot.
Yeah.
I picked it up pretty quick. I think like by second grade I was done with ESL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I had to take ESL for a few years.
Yeah. I think like the younger, you learn something.
Yeah.
The quicker you retain it.
I can see that. I guess it depends on like the attention span as well.
Yeah.
Of the kid. So do you remember like how your siblings took it and everything like that?
I remember, so I have 2 older sisters. The younger one, she's a year older than me.
Yeah.
And we went to the same school, and it was pretty tough for her as well.
Like, because nobody spoke English, right?
Yeah. I think my brother did just fine. My oldest sister did just fine.
Gotcha. And you guys were all in that 2-bedroom apartment?
Yeah.
It was like what, 2 sisters, 1 brother, so it's 4 kids.
4 kids in a room.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess 2 bunk beds would work, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of things would you guys do as like growing up, like when you first got there?
When I first got there, I had cousins who lived in Jackson.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was curious, like why Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't the best place to live, and I don't know how it is now, but at the time, like, the crime rate was insane. It was just it wasn't a very good area to start a family.
Yeah. You know, into like fights and stuff like that.
Not there. I only lived there for probably a couple of months before we moved to North Carolina.
Oh,
but
okay. Gotcha.
There was like reported homicides all the time and robberies and things like that. And I would hear about this and just like freak out as a kid. Like,
oh damn.
Why are we here? Like,
yeah.
I was supposed to be moving to a mansion with a helicopter and a motorcycle. And
right. Supposed to live like a king.
Exactly. That's what I thought America was. And I would tell my friends in Jordan, like, oh yeah, my dad just bought a mansion. My dad just bought me a helicopter. And I was so excited about all that. And
yeah.
like you said, it's a complete shock to me.
Did you ever like phone home?
No.
Talk to your friends or
I was
something?
too young.
Yeah.
And my mom would call like my uncles and my family overseas, and I would talk to them.
Right. Gotcha.
Like, yeah, we throw the football around with my cousins.
Yeah.
Play video games.
Gotcha. So like just staying within the family. And
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
It wasn't much to do.
Right. So why North Carolina? You remember that?
So yeah, my dad's cousin lived here.
Okay.
And he pretty much calls him and says, this is we live in Raleigh, Cary area, and it's a great place to raise a family, good community.
Okay.
And then my dad had 2 cousins or 3 cousins that lived here. And I think my aunt that also moved from Jordan, but she was living in Baltimore at the time. She was planning on moving there, so.
Okay, so yeah, everyone's kind of migrating there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
And then.
That's still tough though, as far as like you're going from Jordan to New York to Jackson, and then to Raleigh just a couple months later.
Yeah.
That's a lot of moving right there.
It was.
For a family.
But I liked it, honestly, when I moved here.
Yeah? It was a lot better?
There was, when I first got here, there was a lot of events going on, and, family gatherings, and, there's so many different things. Kids my age, and I think it was summer, too. So it wasn't like I had to go to school. So a lot of it was just hanging out, and I guess like getting comfortable.
Right,
so.
right. I know you're like a fit dude and all that. Ever since I've met you. Did that come at an early age too, as far as like,
I
don't know, sports or something like that?
Yeah, so like in Jordan, that's the other thing. In Jordan, we my dad, he worked really hard, and we lived, it was an apartment, but he owned it. And then we went to, me and all my siblings, we went to private school.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's good.
Packed lunch, allowance. So like, we lived good compared to when, we first moved here. But yeah, pretty much we had swimming in our school in Jordan. So we learned how to swim there. There'd be like a karate class every morning, or it's like a karate, not a ritual, but like like a 10-minute, it's like warm up or karate exercises every morning, or like taekwondo, whatever it was.
Is that like through the school?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So like in the morning, we would all line up, and we would do like pretty much like the Pledge of Allegiance, Jordanian version. And then we would do like just like some karate exercises.
Interesting.
We had swimming there.
Yeah.
And then in the neighborhood, kind of like I was saying earlier, all the kids are outside all the time. So like, I would just, we would all be riding bikes, riding scooters, playing soccer in the street, where we put like 2 bricks and set them up as a goal, play soccer.
Just be more active.
Yeah, super active, hide and seek, tag. But it's like, that was like on a daily basis for hours on hours on hours. So like, super active. And then obviously when we moved here and I didn't understand anything.
Right.
So I hated all the classes. I enjoyed PE.
Oh, there you go.
You know, so like I would always be looking forward to PE class and just, playing whatever sport that, they offered at the time.
Did you get into like school sports and stuff like that?
Well, I don't think they had like team sports at that age or time. I never signed up for like anything outside of school, but like just PE classes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And, I felt like I was more athletic than most of those kids.
Right. Were you like always kind of like?
I was fast.
I mean, obviously, like not like 6 years old.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't,
ripped to shreds.
Yeah, no, I wasn't shredded at 6, but I was fast.
Yeah,
I was athletic.
Same.
So
I would always beat everybody running.
Yeah. So anytime there was like a race or whatever it was, like I feel like I was outperformed all the other kids. And I was really big into soccer when I was like super, super young. So like between like 6 and 8.
Yeah.
Just like, again, PE class.
Right.
But when it was like time to play soccer, like I'd be so happy and
So at that point, did you ever get into sports as like a teenager maybe?
I did.
Like that?
In middle school and high school, I started playing football. I played a little bit of like pickup basketball. I tried out for track, but I never followed through. Same thing with like wrestling and.
So you just tried all sports.
Yeah.
But you didn't really find your niche or anything.
Football.
Football.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing football, but that also didn't really work out too well.
Right. Why?
So,
I mean, like, when you got in it, like, did you even have a goal of, like, being a football star or
yeah,
something like that?
yeah.
Oh, really? Nice.
100%. But this is like 6th, 7th grade was, you know, when I had these aspirations. I remember 7th grade trying out for the football team, and they made like the first cut, second cut, or whatever, and it was like the final cut, and it was between like me and like 6 other kids or whatever, or 10 other kids, however many, and the coach was like, all right, you know, pretty much we're gonna have like a push-up contest, and whoever does, you know, the most push-ups or the least push-ups is gonna get cut, and whoever does the most is gonna make the team.
Yeah.
And I remember doing like 40 or 50 push-ups, and we would have like a partner, so the other guy would count for us, and then you would count for him. And I remember I had like the most push-ups, and the coach just was like, "Nah, there's no way you did 50 push-ups. You're cut."
Damn.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I didn't make the football team 7th grade. I tried out again in 8th grade. I made it, but I played like 5th quarter.
Oh, damn.
So I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like it doesn't count.
It's like the strings, right? Like kind of like that. Like
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like you play a quarter before the actual game started.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
So I wasn't an all-star player in 8th grade.
Damn.
So then 9th grade, I went to Cary High School.
Okay.
And I remember that's when I really, really took working out seriously. And I was always smaller.
Yeah.
I was never big.
Right. Was there a reason like you actually like wanted to go into it? Was it like girls or sports?
Sports, I mean, just like I thought it was cool. You know, it was something that I looked up to. You know, the football players, like, all right, like this, I want to be like this guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, so I really just wanted to, you know, be a star player or whatnot.
Right.
So 8th grade, I remember in the summer, there was a gym. It was called, I think, like Lifestyle Fitness.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember those gyms back in the day.
I don't think so.
But it was really close to my house, and, you know, I convinced my dad to sign me up there.
Okay. As a teenager?
This is 8th grade.
Gotcha.
Well, I just finished 8th grade. I'm about to go to high school.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started going to the gym like every single day and just taking it seriously. And all the kids in my neighborhood, you know, so we would all pretty much be outside. That's why I also know the reason I like North Carolina. So the first house we moved to, or townhouse we moved to, it was all right. But then we moved to another neighborhood, and it was like this cul-de-sac, and we ended up like knowing a lot of people that lived there.
Yeah.
And we would all play outside, and it kind of like reminded me of back home. We would all play outside, and you know, we drew like a line in the middle of the cul-de-sac, and we played dodgeball.
Nice.
We would, you know, put on boxing gloves and pretty much box in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
Right.
Play basketball, you know, backyard football.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the guys were older than me, and they played football. Those are some of the guys that I looked up to. You know, so I would always ask them for like tips and advice, like what should I do? I want to make the football team and whatnot. So I started working out really heavy in 8th grade.
Was the goal kind of like to be on that football team?
Yeah.
And, like, be in a good position?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Okay. Absolutely.
That's cool, man.
So I tried out in 9th grade.
Yeah.
I made the football team at Cary High School.
Nice.
Wasn't starting or anything like that. Again, I was still small, even though I worked out every day.
Yeah.
I hadn't hit my growth spurt. And I was always like a year younger. So like I started my senior year when I was 16.
Your senior year when you were 16?
Yeah.
Damn.
I graduated when I was 17.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was always the younger of my class.
Gotcha. And you said you were short then too?
I was short and I was skinny.
Damn.
Yeah.
You really sprouted.
Yeah.
Because you're like 6'3", right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But anyways, yeah, so I made it to the football team, but I didn't really like Cary High School at the time. I didn't know anyone there. Well, I knew a couple of people there.
Yeah. Well, when you got that, when you joined the football team in Cary, again, you weren't starting. So how did that feel for you? Because like it's like rejection almost, right?
Yeah.
Last time.
I just knew I needed to work harder.
Mm.
I saw kids that could hit harder than me and can run faster than me.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
I knew like if I kept working, I could
Yeah.
be stronger and faster than all of them.
So you didn't really take it as like a failure. It's more about like
no, I was working hard.
harder.
Yeah, just kept working hard, showing up to all the practices, all the workouts, and just really push myself.
Where do you think you get that from? Do you think you get that from your parents or something like
Definitely, my parents and my older brother.
that?
Yeah.
I guess coming from Jordan too, that's like, it's about taking risks too, right? Like they took a big risk doing that.
100%.
I don't know if you were consciously aware at that time in high school when you were joining a football team about like how big that was and how much of an influence it was taking that kind of risk.
Yeah.
Which kind of could translate to your life and like taking risks for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I also felt like I always got along with people. I was always like the funny kid, the class clown or whatever.
Nice.
And people liked me, but I just didn't feel like I fit in the way I wanted. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, sure, like people found me funny and I got along with people, but I just wasn't like that cool kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like,
it's kind of like me. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You didn't really find your group of people, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
So
someone that you could talk, like, have deep conversations with or something.
I mean, I had a couple of those friends, but like, I don't know. I think coming here and just seeing like the popular kids, I mean, it's just like any middle school and, high school kid, it's like, I want to be that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't really, I was still finding myself, trying to figure myself out. And, I just figured like, if I'm an all-star football player, everybody's going to love me,
Right. Yeah.
So back to that whole football thing, all my friends that went to middle school with me and all my friends that I grew up with, or most of them went to Athens.
Okay. Gotcha.
Athens Drive High School.
Yeah.
So we ended up moving from that neighborhood in 2010 when I had just started my freshman year to a new neighborhood. And that school district was Athens.
Oh, cool.
So I had the option to transfer. And, I remember telling my dad, like, hey, I want to transfer and whatnot. So I transferred to Athens. And right around that same time, I got in really big trouble.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you do? What did you do?
What did I do? So I started smoking, smoking weed.
In high school?
I mean, I started in middle school.
Middle school?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
I was like 12 when I started smoking.
There you go.
Yeah.
I started when I was 13.
Yeah.
But I was in high school.
So, yeah, like my parents found out about that and I got in really big trouble.
Hold on, you got to tell me the story.
Yeah.
How did they find out?
Well, I hate to say this, but I would be at the mosque, and then like a group of my friends would like sneak out, and we'd go smoke and whatnot.
Right, come back and meditate or something, or whatever prayers.
Just get picked up, go home, have the munchies.
Did you smell like it?
Probably.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware.
Right. Yeah. I smoked cigarettes as well.
Well, that's not how I got caught. How I got caught was. There was a security guard because they had like security there. He pretty much, we're in the corner. He pulls up on a golf cart, and one of my friends ran. And he was like, "Hey, I saw your friend run. Who is he?" And I was like, "I'm not snitching." And he's like, "Look, if you bring your friend here and we can talk about this, no one needs to know about it, and you guys are not gonna get in trouble. But if you don't bring your friend, I'm going to call the police and I'm going to call your parents."
Damn.
So like, I mean, let me call him and see if, he's willing to come. So I explained to my friend, I call him like, "Hey, this is the two options that we have."
Yeah.
He's like, "I got you, I'm coming back." So he comes back. The guy talks to us like, "Hey, this is bad. You guys shouldn't be doing this."
Was they like yelling at you guys?
No, he was being super nice about it.
Oh, that's good.
And then the next day, that same night, he told my parents.
Damn.
Yeah, so he completely lied.
Yeah.
I hated that.
Should have just ran.
It was manipulative.
Right.
So yeah, that's how my parents found out.
Oof.
But
Did they? What did your parents do? Because like I know immigrant parents. They could be a bit more tough on.
I definitely got my ass whooped.
Yeah.
But I think like my phone got taken away. I wasn't able to do anything. And this is what really got me is like when I transferred to Athens. I go talk to the football coach. I'm like, hey, coach, I just transferred here. I played football at Cary. I want to join the team. And he was like, yeah, just come to practice tomorrow and we'll get you set up. So, I go home that day and I tell my parents, hey, I'm going to be staying after school tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're like, for what? I was like, I'm starting a football team. I'm like, no, you're not. I was like, what do you mean? I want to play football. And they're like, no, you're not playing anything. You're going to go to school and you're going to come home.
Right.
And besides that, you're not doing anything.
Damn.
And I mean, that was a huge disappointment for me.
Hell yeah.
I felt like that made me more rebellious in a way because it was like I was, as I did, fuck up and do stupid shit.
Right.
But what I was after was something that would have been good for me, which is, playing a sport.
That's true.
So I wasn't able to play football.
So you're basically grounded.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, that even lasted till like, because that's in the fall, and then the winter I tried out for the wrestling team, and like my dad pulls up to school in the middle of practice, and he's like, come on, we got to go. I was like, I'm practicing. He's like, you're not joining sports.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's like, you're not playing any sports.
Interesting.
You're coming home. And
yeah. Did you ever ask him later on, like, why you did that? Or why your parents didn't want you to join sports?
It wasn't that they didn't want me to join sports. It was that I was a badass kid. And
you were just getting in trouble.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of trouble. And I think, like, I betrayed their trust. You know what I mean? So they didn't want me to do anything extra.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just, I don't hold it against them at all. Because obviously, as a father now, like, if my kids, are doing stupid shit, obviously I would probably handle a little bit differently because of my experiences.
Yeah.
But, I understand that everything they did was for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I love my parents to death. But at the time, it was just like, this sucks. Like, I want to play sports.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of trouble were you getting into? That they were just like, so like, no, you're not doing anything.
So previous, like ninth grade and before, it was just lots of fights. It's like I was always fighting in school, getting suspended, getting after school detention and ISS, for being on my phone, being a class clown, just like always making jokes in the middle of class. I was just being stupid.
Was it like a rebellious thing, like you just didn't care kind of thing? Or was it?
No, it wasn't that. It was, again, like the whole, like, just trying to, like, find myself or fit in or be someone.
Yeah.
So I would always, and, like, when I first started cracking jokes, everyone just thought they were hilarious. And I would make the whole class laugh. So I was like, all right, like.
Let me do more of that.
Let me do more of that, exactly. But what really, like, got me, the real trouble I got into was just, like, all right, smoking. And just, getting in fights and things like that.
Yeah.
That was like the main thing.
Yeah. Did you feel that, how were the fights for you? Was it something to kind of make sure that you're cool, like you're something like that? Or
no,
is it
that
protecting yourself or something like that?
It was mostly protecting myself. So like I said, like, and that was the other thing about like wanting to be that cool kid. Because at the same time, like, yes, I got along with people. Yes, people found me funny. And I did have like a group of friends, but I always felt like I didn't fit in, you know, and so, a lot of people would bully me just because of like my racial background and my, religious background and my accent, not speaking English properly and just being made fun of.
Yeah.
So I always found myself just fighting.
Gotcha.
Oh,
so I mean, the fact that you actually stood up to them, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a big step there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, fighting my older brother, getting my ass beat by him.
Right.
So
I feel like people who have older brothers are more likely to stand up to bullies.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
I would say so, because when I'm getting my ass beat by my older brother,
Yeah.
he's 4 years older than me. You're my age, like,
right.
you don't stand a chance of hurting me or intimidating me, because I deal with this all the time.
Well, plus the fact that like with your older brother, like it's fist fights, right? With your older brother.
I mean, I wouldn't say like full blown out fist fights, but like we would wrestle.
Okay.
I mean, he's punched me a few times for sure.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
but like sometimes he would just like get on top of me and pin my hands and just like smack me up. And,
right.
Things like
older
that.
brother stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the feeling. It's that feeling that's known. Like your older brother beating you up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that feeling of what it feels like to be in a fight kind of thing.
I mean, even in Jordan, like when I was 4 and 5 years old, like I was getting fights in the streets with like other kids.
Damn, dude.
Over like I scored a goal, no you didn't. We just start fighting. It was,
Would you say that you had like a temper tantrum? I mean, like just an anger issue?
I think so, a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like a big part of that was just feeling like I was treated unfairly. You know what I mean? Or just like, when someone like gets in trouble, but they didn't start it. And you walk in mid-argument, this guy gets, it felt like that was always me. I was getting blamed for things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like, that made me.
Yeah. That's like a form of defending yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So I couldn't play sports 9th grade.
Gotcha.
10th grade, that's when I really started like, all right, staying out super late.
Yeah.
Going to parties with my friends, and got heavier into the smoking and just.
I guess because you couldn't play sports, or you didn't have like an outlet.
Yeah, but like I knew I wanted to play.
Right.
10th grade, and at that point I wasn't in trouble anymore, but I kind of took the wrong path. So then football workouts started in the summer, and I remember it was like during Ramadan. So I was fasting, I was staying out late,
Drinking and smoking.
Partying. Yeah, I mean, not so much drinking, but just like staying out super late with my friends.
Yeah.
And smoking.
Yeah. How'd your parents take that? Did you always get in trouble because you came home at like midnight or something like that?
So, in Ramadan, we do like this thing where you stay at the mosque till like the morning prayer, which is like 5 a.m. A lot of the kids would stay.
Okay.
But then again, I would sneak out and had older friends that had cars and stuff, and we'd go smoke and go get some
food.
McDonald's or some cookout or something like that. But I tried to go into the workouts a couple times, and I would just be dead.
Yeah.
So I decided, I'm not gonna play football my senior year. So I didn't play football my senior year.
Is it because like it's that realization of like I'm not gonna become a football player?
No, I still had those passions. Okay. I was staying up till 4 or 5 in the morning, and football workouts were at 8 in the morning. So I'd be drained.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't make it. I just would fall asleep and not make it. So I just kind of just gave up sort of on it. But I was like, all right, next year, like I'm gonna do better.
Yeah.
I played basketball that year.
I'm guessing you were 6'3" at this point.
I was probably like 6 foot, 6'1".
Okay.
So that's sophomore year is when I really started growing.
Gotcha.
And then I said, next year I'm definitely gonna play. So going into my junior year, I started working out harder than I've ever worked out.
Yeah.
I had weight training in my school. I would go to the football workouts, more weight training, and then I would go to the gym after school. And, you know, I started really putting on size. I started getting real strong. I was fast. And I would go to these football workouts every single day.
At that point, were you still smoking?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Never really put that down. I haven't, I quit now. It's been 11 months
Oh, really?
that I haven't smoked.
I just do gummies now.
Yeah. No, I'm nothing for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so junior year, man, I went and I was showing up to these workouts every single day, and I was doing great.
Yeah.
And then one day I walk into the locker room, and my helmet is gone. My shoulder pads are gone. So I'm pissed. I'm like, yo, someone's trying to pull a prank on me. I'm about to fuck someone up. Like, don't play with me. You know what I mean? So I go to my coach's office, and I'm pissed. I'm like, Coach, like, someone took my football helmet. Someone took my shoulder pads. You know, once I find out who it is, I'm going to kick their ass or whatever. He's like, I took your shoulder pads. I took your helmet. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, your report cards came in from last year, and you had 2 Fs, so you can't play.
Damn.
And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, this was last year. He was like,
Right.
yeah, but it pretty much translates to the fall semester. And I was like, hold up, like, I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah.
You know, I'll make straight A's this semester, just let me play. He's like, no, I'm sorry, you can't play.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you were kicked off the team?
I was kicked off the team.
Damn.
I was super pissed, man. I was
Shit.
super pissed. And again, like, I felt like that caused me to, like, rebel more. And, you know, like, fuck this. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Probably went home and smoked a bunch that day. But yeah, so I couldn't play my junior year. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to work even harder.
Right.
And senior year, I'm gonna make the team. I'm gonna be starting, whatever. So I started working out hard every single day, like from the beginning of my junior year, and just taking my fitness, my health to a whole nother level.
Right.
Now, ever since we moved to the States, I told you, like, the first day we were here, I told my parents, like, I want to go back home.
Right.
Right. Every summer, I would ask my parents, can we go back to Jordan? Can we go back to Jordan? Can we go? And it was always like, no, now's not a good time. Maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year. The only time I didn't ask to go back to Jordan was my junior year, going to my senior year summer.
Yeah.
And my parents are like, you're going to Jordan.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to go to Jordan.
Right.
I want to play football. And they're like, well, no, your mom's going, your sister's going, you need to go with them.
Damn.
Yeah, so I was like,
Do me a favor. You can scooch in this way.
Yeah.
just a little bit. There you go. That's good.
so I was like, I don't want to go to Jordan. So long story short, I had to go to Jordan.
Yeah.
I missed my football workouts, the summer workouts. But like the first day I got to Jordan, I went and found a gym, got a membership there. You know, I bought a big tub of protein powder.
Yeah, because you were there for like 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Maybe even 3 months. I can't remember.
Right. Well, the fact that you stayed dedicated was
Yeah.
pretty impressive, too.
Yeah. And then I just started lifting way harder than ever. The food there is amazing. So like I would go to the gym, I would walk out of the gym, I'd buy like 2, pretty much they're like chicken wraps. Buy like 2 of those, I'd eat them on the way home, get home, drink a protein shake, shower, then we'd be invited to like one of my cousin's house or aunt's house or whatever, and we'd have like a big meal there.
There you go.
So I was eating nonstop, and I think when I went to Jordan, I was probably like 180.
Yeah.
I came back at like 205.
Damn.
Yeah, and like everyone was like, dude, what are you taking? You know what I mean? I was like, no, I just was lifting hard.
I mean, that's pretty. You're pretty dedicated, man.
Yeah,
I mean, to go to a different country. Usually, people would just like relax, you know, do whatever. But nah, you stay dedicated throughout.
100%.
It seems like I see a pattern in your life where it's like you want to strive for something, but you get knocked down, but you don't let that stop you.
No.
And it's like all these stages of getting knocked down, but you still wanted to strive for
100%.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man.
And I remember I was running like 5-minute miles on the treadmill,
Nice.
just going super hard.
Damn.
But yeah, when I came back, I wanted to play linebacker, and I start, practicing or whatever, and I didn't realize there's so many plays and like so many different things you had to learn.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I got it physically, but I don't have the plays down. I don't know what I'm doing on the field.
Yeah.
You know, so I wasn't doing very good. So
Right.
one of the defensive coaches comes to me and is like, hey, like, I think you would do really good at defensive end. And I got pissed. I was like, you know, I'm not a chubby fat guy. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, no, that doesn't mean you're, you know. I was like, I'm a lineman. He's like, no, trust me. Like, try it out. If you don't like it, we can go back, you know, practicing being linebacker. So I remember playing defensive end or like trying, you know, to play defensive end, and I was just getting tackles and sacks, and I was like, man, I love this. So I ended up my senior year, I played defensive end. I wasn't starting, but that's because there was, you know, other guys that were there for all 4 years playing football.
Yeah.
But I knew I was getting my starting position soon. You know, I started getting more and more play time. I think we played like 2 or 3 games. The couple minutes that I got on the field, I was doing like really, really good, like sacks and tackles and forced fumbles. And I played on special teams too for like kick, punt, kick return, punt return.
Yeah.
And I was always like the first one down the field.
Nice.
And then one day, you know, I decided I don't want to go to practice. I want to hang out with my friends, go smoke or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know if you don't go to practice, you have to run some hills. So I was like, fuck it, I'll skip practice and I'll run my hills tomorrow. But I didn't know is you can't skip Thursday's practice when games are on Fridays. You know what I mean? So that week we were playing, I forgot what school it might have been like Broughton or something.
Yeah.
There's a kid named Braxton Berrios who ended up making it to the NFL.
Nice.
Yeah. And we were playing him that week, and I was like, this is what I've worked for, like you know what I mean, my whole life. Like, I don't have any scouts. No one has ever seen me play. I was like, there's 100 scouts coming to look at this guy today or tomorrow for the game. I was like, this is my opportunity where I'm just going to destroy this guy, and everyone's going to know about me. Right. You know, who's this guy that's shutting down Braxton? So that was like my whole mentality at the time. So, you know, I get to practice or I show up to school. I might have skipped Wednesday's practice. I can't remember how it went exactly, but the coach was like, or I texted my defensive coach. He's like, bring a doctor. I told him I wasn't feeling well. He's like, bring a doctor's note. I was like, well, I'm not going to the doctor. I just, you know, just have a headache or whatever. He's like, well, if you go to like the pharmacy or anything, just bring a receipt with you. And, you know, we'll
receipt for some ibuprofen or something like that.
Yeah, so I just went to the gas station, bought some medicine. Just have a receipt. So the next day I show up, the head coach like, where were you at yesterday? I was like, oh, I wasn't feeling good. He's like, you got a doctor's note? I was like, no, but I got this receipt. He's like, receipt? He's like, you can't skip practice without a doctor's note. And I was like, all right, well, sorry, I'll run my hills. He was like, no, you can't play Friday.
Damn.
And I was like, what do you mean I can't play Friday? He was like, you missed, you know, Wednesday's practice or Thursday. Because I think, it was Wednesday's practice because I think Thursday is like when we just go over all the plays or like watch film or whatever it was. And then Friday's the game. I was like, I'll just run my hills. He's like, no, you can't do that on a Thursday. And long story short, he's like, if you want to be a part of this team, you need to show up on Friday and, you know, stand with your team and be supportive of them.
Take the hit.
Yeah. So I remember showing up that game, and I was on the sidelines, and we were getting destroyed. You know, by the first half, it was like 28-0. Yeah. You know, like Braxton scored every single touchdown.
Damn. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, I didn't have my uniform on. He wouldn't even allow me to put my uniform on.
Damn.
Yeah, so I was so pissed, and I ended up like during halftime, like going off on my coach, like cussing him out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I just was.
How'd that go?
I walked away.
Yeah.
And then
he didn't yell back or anything?
No, because I think I just like cussed at him and like left.
Damn.
So then like Monday comes and I try to go to practice.
Right.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you're off the team.
Damn.
Yeah. It's just that cycle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the end of that.
So how was that feeling of getting kicked off the team? Was it like the kind of like the final straw for you?
Yeah, I mean after that I really went downhill. I stopped really caring about school. I was skipping every day.
Were you still working out and all that?
Yeah, not as much. I
Right.
was still going to the gym, and at this point, like I'm a senior in high school. Like, all right, I'm trying to have, a nice looking body or whatever.
Right.
But I wasn't taking it as serious anymore.
Yeah.
I was just more into like partying at this time, hanging out with my friends. A lot of my friends were older than me too, so like skipping school with them and
Right.
just
Living,
doing some
living the crazy life.
living the crazy life.
Did that guy get down to like the depths of hell? I guess you could say, as far as like how low did it go? You know what
So I think it was my sophomore year, my junior year, I got arrested for the first time.
Damn.
And, I went to jail. I was 16, got caught up with some stupid shit, and, they found some weed on me, and I got arrested.
How was that experience for you?
I mean, it was terrible. Like,
Yeah. Were you nervous the whole time when you were like going into the jail? And
no, I
stuff?
thought it was cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I'll tell my friends all about this.
yeah, that was kind of like the mentality I had. But I also like knew like how it was gonna affect my parents. And I knew they were gonna be, extremely hurt by it and disappointed, of course.
Get your ass beat by them.
Yeah. And at that point, my dad still, would hit me, but not as much.
Right.
But yeah, so after my senior year, I started going down the wrong path. I probably got arrested a couple more times. And
Was it all like drug related or is it
mostly drug related stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then eventually I think like I got put on probation. And then I got put on house arrest. And then
Were you at your parents for that time period?
Yeah. So I don't think I was put on house arrest yet. This was my senior year. I think I ended up dropping out at that point. I just didn't care about anything. I got in a lot of trouble in school, and they put me in like this program, which was like ISS every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was for like the rest of the semester. So I started catching up on all my work. I had like all Fs. So I had like and I was always like pretty good with school, especially math. But I just never tried or like put in that effort.
Right.
So I had a psychology class. I had a math class, and then I had weight training and PE. So the 4 classes, 2 of them were PE and weight training. That was big part of that was because of football, and I wanted to, work harder than anyone else.
Yeah.
So I brought my math grade to an A. I brought my psychology grade to an A.
Okay.
But then when I went to talk to my, football coach and my PE coach or weight training coach or whatever, and I, said, hey, like,
A's, yeah.
I need to bring my grade up so I can pass, because I knew I needed to get a minimum of 3 A's or minimum of 3 passing grades this semester, and I had to pass all my classes the next semester in order to graduate.
Right.
And if I didn't meet that criteria,
you're done.
I would have had to do like summer school, or I don't think I would have had to repeat the grade or anything. But yeah, so I went and talked to them. They're like, I remember one of the coaches saying, well, I guess I'm gonna, I'm sitting here like begging him pretty much like, I just need to pass with a D.
Yeah.
Whatever I need to do, I'm willing to do. And I remember like if you missed a day in weight training or PE, you would have to like write a 1-page paper. So it's like, I'll write a page paper for every day I missed. Like, I started taking it more serious. Like I knew like, all right, like I needed to graduate.
Right.
And I remember him responding to me like, well, I guess I'm gonna see you here next year, boy.
Oh, damn.
And that was my breaking point. I walked out, and I remember just kicking the hell out of the gym door. I storm out of the school, and assistant principal and athletic director, they're like chasing after me like, Mike, come back. And I was like, fuck you and fuck this school. And I get in my car and I just drift off, and never showed up to school again.
Damn.
After that day.
So did you officially like drop out, or you just kind of left and never came back?
I think I just stopped going, and like they ended up like calling my parents, calling me. It's like, hey, like, are you coming back to school? And I was like, no, I'm not coming back.
Yeah. Damn, dude. It
Yeah.
seems like you just needed a little bit of understanding and guidance.
I think so. I think that was it.
Like no one was giving you, I guess, a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
Or,
And
I
felt like that's what made me more and more angry.
Yeah.
And made me more rebellious.
Right.
But then I was like, after like a couple weeks of cooling down, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my GED, or like an adult diploma is what they call it. It's like better than a GED supposedly.
Oh, okay.
So I contact Wake Tech, and I told you I was always a year younger. So at this point I was 17, and I contact Wake Tech. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to sign up for my adult diploma, and they're like, you're too young. You have to wait till you're 18.
Oh, damn.
So I ended up going to a different county. It was like Johnston County. It was a Johnston County Community College. And I went there, and within like a week, I had my diploma.
Damn.
So I had or not a week, but like before everyone in my grade graduated,
you already had it.
I had my diploma.
Nice.
Yeah. So
did you go back to school? Like, look what I got, bitches.
Right. Yeah. So then I went to Wake Tech and took the placement test or whatever. I placed out of all the prerequisites and was starting school there. At that point, I had been on house arrest, and like I was on probation. I violated that. Then I got put on house arrest, and then I violated that. So then I found out that I had to go to prison.
Damn. Yeah, for violating all those probations,
So I had to do like a 3-month sentence.
Damn.
Yeah. So
was this after the diploma?
Yeah, this is first semester at Wake Tech.
Oh, okay.
At this time, I have I'm taking like 7 classes.
Damn.
I have all A's. I'm just like, I gotta stop fucking around. But it's always like a slip up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's almost that's crazy because like you try and do good, but then like it's almost like you forget about these other things that are important too.
Yeah.
And that fucks up everything else. Yeah.
It was always like being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So when I went to court or whatever, they're like, all right, well, I explained to them like I'm in college and I finished my semester in December or whatever. So they're like, all right, your date to go in is like December 17th.
Oh man.
So I think it was the 17th or 14th or something like that.
How was that for you? I mean, at this point, you've been to jail a couple times, right?
Yeah.
But never like actually a sentence.
Never more than like a day or 2.
Right. Yeah. So come December, like.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
the nerves kicking in.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane.
What made it insane?
Like you said, the nerves.
Okay.
Just like thinking about it, like I'm about to be in prison for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be crazy.
So how was that? Talk to me about the first day of that 3-month period. Like settling in there.
I don't think I ever settled in there, man.
Oh, really?
It was because when you first go in, you go to like the county jail where they do like the processing or whatever.
And to be clear, it's you're tried as an adult, right?
I just turned 18.
Yeah.
So I turned 18 that September, and then I went to prison in December. So I was 2 months into being 18.
Damn.
And the way they explained it at the court, like the lawyer was like, it's like a camp, or like, so it's like a program. They didn't. Okay. So this whole time, like, I didn't even really know I was going to prison.
Oh, really? They pictured it, they painted it as like a camp and stuff like that for you? Like, no, this is prison.
Almost like just like a facility where you can't use your phone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, it was jail.
Yeah, jail.
So, I mean, the first day and second day, and like first week was rough, and I remember just counting down the days every single day.
Is it because of kind of like nothing to do, or is it like you gotta like watch your back?
No, I wasn't worried about that. At that point, I was a fighter. Like, I didn't, I was young too, so I was somewhat reckless. So I was like, if anyone fucks with me, like, I'm gonna smash their head in.
Right.
So I didn't really, and I was pretty big at that time, so I wasn't really worried about that. It was just more so just like nothing to do. I feel like I'm missing out on life, everybody's in college, all my friends are out and just doing things, and I'm locked up.
Yeah.
Like an animal.
It seems like you had a lot of time to process.
Yeah.
How was that process mentally for you?
It was good. I think it was needed. At that time, like, I started writing on a notebook, like, success is all about discipline and things like that. And I would work out in there, and I would shadow box and do push-ups and sit-ups and things like that. And then I started, like, thinking about all the things I want to do when I got out. Like, I might, like, try to walk on a football team. I might, maybe I might start doing MMA. And this is in 2015, so it was, after that, it's kind of like around the time we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
this is December 2014 to March 2015.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember, like, thinking to myself, I'm gonna get a job, and I'm gonna work super hard, and I'm gonna save money, and I'm gonna do all these things. So yeah, I mean, I definitely got a lot of time to think while I was in there, but
that's good.
It was super depressing. Like, even though it was a 3-month sentence, like, nothing compared to what other people have to go through. Like, every single day, I would think about, like, how could I escape?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, like, if I broke this window or broke these bars, can I, like, tie up my sheet and climb down? Like, every single day, like, I would have these thoughts of, like,
well, I mean,
the possibility of escaping.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got in some fights there while I was there.
How was that? Jail fights. Do you feel like it's different from street fights?
Not really.
No? Okay. I've never been in jail, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, people will try to jump you. There's, like, different.
Test
Yeah. But, like, there's gangs, so it's like if you fight with one guy, it's not gonna be a one-on-one. You know what I mean? You're gonna get jumped.
Gotcha.
But unless someone, like, calls you to the hole or whatever they used to call it, it would just be like a corner where there's no cameras, and you would just, like, scrap one-on-one.
Yeah.
But then people would always try to jump you. But yeah, after like maybe a month of being in the county jail, I transferred to a processing prison. And that was like what they call, like, a brown closed camp. So it was like maximum security.
Damn.
Yeah, so you had people that were in there for all sorts of things, like murder and whatnot.
Right.
Much more serious charges than what I had. People definitely tried to test you there.
Yeah.
I remember,
a lot more.
Yeah. People, I think, stole, like, my deodorant and, like, my soap bar or whatever. And I remember trying to find out who it was, and this one guy told me, he was like, yo, like, I know a way you could find out, but I don't necessarily recommend it.
Right.
And I was like, so, what's that? He was like, you need to call out everybody in the jail and say, yo, pretty much whoever stole my shit, like, you're a bitch, you're the gang you rep, are bitches, and your mom is a bitch, whatever. So, like, I was like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So, like, they're all watching TV, and I come out, I was like, yo, whoever stole my stuff, like, you're this, and your gang is this.
You're unkind.
Yeah. And, no one said anything.
Really?
Yeah. So then after, like, that night, I'm going up the stairs, and some guy calls me. He's like, hey, let me talk to you for a second. I was like, what's up? He's like, I can find out who took your stuff. I'm pretty much like the boss here. Blah, 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 blah. But if you need anything, you come to me. And I was like, I don't need anything from anyone. Like, I got me, pretty much. And I think, like, that kind of, like, I earned my respect there. Because, like,
you stood your ground.
I stood my ground. I wasn't afraid of anyone. Like, whether you were in a gang, whether you rolled with, 6, 7 people, or you were by yourself, like, I made it clear, like, if anyone wanted to fight, we can fight. I remember I ended up getting a fight because one of the guys, you have to like call your place in the shower. Like, all right, I got first on the shower, I got second, I got third, and one guy was trying to take my spot, and I was like, nah, it's my turn.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, after you get out of the shower, we're going to the hole or whatever. I remember just like front kicking him. Yeah.
Did you have any training at that point, or is it just all street fights?
Street fights.
Gotcha.
It was all street fights.
Yeah.
I had like a punching bag, like a heavy bag at home that I would hit, but no, I had no training.
Gotcha.
But I always won my fights.
Oh, okay.
You know, so that kind of made me want to get into MMA, and I felt like, all right, well, if I'm not playing high school or college football, there's not much else to get into besides MMA.
Right.
So,
yeah.
When I got out, probably a few months later is when I joined.
Talk to me about getting out. So, like, you've processed a lot in jail.
Yeah.
You got into prison. And then you had these experiences in there, but now you got to concentrate on getting out and what you're going to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you figure out what you wanted to do before you got out?
So I knew that I was going to work. I wanted to work super hard, find a job.
So you didn't know what kind of job?
Well, some of my friends, they worked in like the festival business. Okay. So they would go to like different shows and fairs and festivals, and they would set up like pretty much like food vendors. Okay. So I knew I had like a job lined up there. One of my other friends, his parents owned like a grocery store. I knew I had a job lined up there. So I knew there was like different opportunities, and like, my brother is very well connected. And I knew I was going to hustle regardless, whether I was going to cut, grass, take out people's trash, whatever it was, I was going to work and I was going to make money.
Yeah.
I also knew that I wanted to start MMA. And I would tell myself the 90 days that I was there, I'm never smoking again. I'm never smoking again. I'm not going to do cigarettes, no weed, nothing.
Yeah.
But in jail, we were smoking like roll-ups, which is like you get like a small piece of toilet paper, or not toilet paper, like the wrapping, the toilet paper. Yeah. So we'd get like a small piece of that, and people would sneak tobacco in there, and like one roll-up was like $5, and it would last like 3 hits.
Damn.
Yeah. So we were smoking that, but then I was like, all right, like when I get out, like I'm not smoking anymore, and I haven't smoked weed in 90 days at this point. There was weed there, pretty much any drug you wanted.
Sure.
But I was like, I'm not messing with any drugs.
Right.
The first day I got out, I was like, man, I miss how a cigarette feels.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Get
what I
that
mean?
addiction in there.
Yeah, I was like, like I was.
One won't kill me.
Yeah,
right?
I was dying to get a cigarette while I was in there, but it was too difficult.
Right.
And like when you got a cigarette, there's like 12 people passing. You know what I mean? So like I want a cigarette. So I remember the first day I got out, like I smoked a cigarette. And then I went to see one of my boys, and he gave me a dab.
Oh, was that your first dab?
Yeah.
That shit's hard.
Yeah. It wasn't my first dab ever. It was my first dab in 90 days. First thing smoking in 90 days. So it was like, I already, told myself, this whole time I wasn't going to smoke, and fucked it up in the first day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, okay, it's like, for me, it's like, I take that as, it's the first day. Let me just clear my head this first day kind of thing.
That's kind of like how I, pictured it in my head as well.
Right.
But then it led to the second day, third day, fourth day.
Yeah, that's true.
Just back in that rabbit hole.
So did you end up, where did you go back to your parents' house at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you did MMA? About a month after you got out or something like that?
I don't remember exactly how much longer. But yeah, I remember around that time I, went to Kenji.
Yeah.
And, the Royal Tiger Academy was like, hey, like I want to sign up. And it's like, show me what you got, hit the bag. And, I hit the bag. Like, okay, like you've got some skill, and what are your goals? I was like, I want to fight. I was like, okay. So I started training, there.
Yeah. It was always fun sparring with you.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Especially like, it was interesting. Because like there's no formal training, just street fights, right? At that point, so compared to street fights and then MMA training, did you find it a lot more difficult as far as like realizing that you didn't know as much as you did?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I still felt like I had that physical ability
Yeah.
to beat anyone.
Right.
But jiu-jitsu was foreign to me. I knew how to wrestle. I knew how to put people in headlocks. But besides that, I didn't, know anything about jiu-jitsu. Like, I had my kicks, and I had that athleticism to where it's like I started picking it up, fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But it was, much different. Obviously, in a street fight, you could pick up a brick and hit someone with it, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That was always fun.
Yeah, you poke someone's eyes, or,
Right.
hit him in the throat,
Yeah.
kick him in the nuts, whatever you need to do to, survive.
Yeah.
You
pretty
do
much.
in the streets versus, this being a sport.
Mm-hmm.
But I always felt like I did well in sparring. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think that I was struggling too much.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for you, it was just needing the techniques, but you were shredded already. It's just about the stamina and the technique at that point.
And then 2016, when I finally got a fight lined up,
Yeah.
I was still smoking. I was still bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't training that consistently, but Kenji knew how bad I wanted to fight, and I think someone had dropped out of one of the fights, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, there's a fight in 9 days. Do you want to do it?"
Damn.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Okay.
And at this time, in my head, I pretty much won almost every street fight that I've been in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "There's no way." That was my mentality as an 18-year-old. There's no way anybody can beat me. I'm the strongest guy in the world.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh, you were 18 when I met you?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. I thought you were in your 20s at least.
No, man, I was 18.
Okay. Yeah, talk to
Wait.
me about that.
20s. I was 19 when I fought. Yeah, I was. So when
That's
you
right.
met me, I was 18. I had turned 19.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. 9-day notice. I had it cut to 175 from 200.
Oof.
Yeah.
Damn. Did you do it?
Yeah. I made weight, and the guy I was fighting was 5 pounds over.
Oh.
So it was pretty pointless.
Yeah.
But they asked me, "Do you still want to take the fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Still kind of the same weight class, though, right?
He was 180.
He was 180.
I was 175.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How were the nerves for you? Because that's a proper cage fight, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My heart was beating fast.
Is it because of the people watching? Is it because of maybe just the overall experience of it?
Both.
Yeah.
Definitely both. My heart was beating super fast, and my adrenaline was rushing through my body up until that bell rang.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it.
Something clicked on you?
Yeah.
In you?
But I remember just being in the locker room and just being extremely just nervous, just heart pounding. But it's always like that. It's when you get in a street fight and you just fight. But when all right, meet me over here at 3:00, that adrenaline just starts rushing through you. All right, I'm really about to go meet up someone to fight in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Versus when it just happens.
Right.
It's different.
That's true. Did you do any kind of techniques to were you trying to calm down or something?
Yeah.
Or,
I was definitely trying to control my breathing and hit the bag or the mitts or whatever.
Yeah.
The pads. But yeah. So once that bell rang, it was all right, just go.
Yeah.
And man, I was doing real good. He got me with a couple leg kicks.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't touch my face the whole fight. I knocked him down once, and I got on top of him. This is in the second round, and I picked him up and I slammed him. He had me full guard,
Yeah.
and I picked him up and I slammed him again. At this point, I had pretty much zero jiu-jitsu experience still. I knew what full guard was, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know? And then he had my arm wrapped, and I didn't really care because I had no idea like what I'm doing
or what he could do with
it. Yeah. So yeah, man, the second round he puts me to Kimura, and I try to like fight it off, but I didn't know what I was doing. And
right.
He pulled it back real hard, and I felt like my shoulder was popping out of place.
Oof. Yeah.
And, I ended up losing that fight, and I got depressed all over again.
Yeah.
At this point, I was like super depressed. Like I had never imagined myself losing a fight.
Right.
And I just went back to that cycle. I was just like, fuck everything. You know what I mean? I stopped going to the gym after that point.
Yeah.
Took a long break from MMA.
Yeah. I think after that, I don't think I saw you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were going through that cycle of defeat, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Did it ever cross your mind of like, maybe I could do things differently kind of thing? Or, I don't know, some type of like, just not going down the rabbit hole of fuck everything. You know what I mean?
I think eventually, like, I got to that point where it's like, all right, I need to handle defeat better. I need to handle, difficult situations better.
Right.
But I feel like that didn't come until like really a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes time and growth to
to
find that kind of thing. Interesting.
So
you went down the rabbit hole after that fight. I mean, was it to the extent that you've done before, or?
Yeah. I probably got arrested a couple more times.
Oh, yeah.
Started messing with some harder drugs. Really hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
And just
I think the wrong crowd really makes a difference.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
at that point I was, I started dealing drugs too, and I don't know. It went from like you want to be an MMA fighter to wanting to be like Pablo Escobar, and, just run the streets.
Right.
So yeah, then.
Did you find yourself? Oh, let me ask you this. So like after that loss, did you find yourself easily triggered and getting into street fights to kind of like overcome that defeat?
Yeah, I mean downtown I was always like fighting.
Yeah.
Out with my boys, and so I would never start fights. That's one thing about me. But like, I'm quick to jump in one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When a fight started.
Gotcha.
If I see a lot of my friends, they would just like talk trash and to other people, or someone would bump into them. That
Yeah. Apologize.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I would always be like the first one, like back my boys up and get in that fight.
Yeah. I never really pictured you as a tough guy like that, because you're so nice. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting to know this other side of you.
Yeah.
Then what was the next step after that?
At that point, I was with my now wife, so we were talking or dating or whatever you want to call it. We were together. And
is your wife the same person that I saw in MMA class?
Yeah.
Back in the days? Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I still live there.
Cool, man. So you were with her?
Yeah. Yeah, we met in 2015.
Okay, gotcha.
So I feel like that helped out. You know what I mean? To an extent. But
was she kind of like your therapist a little bit, like trying to process?
Sort of. It also just kept like I would want to hang out with her and spend time with her, so it would keep me out of downtown. It would keep me. But at that point, like I think I was still like dealing drugs and trying to make something out of myself. Not the right thing to make out of yourself, but like, I wanted to make money. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wanted to be successful somehow. Like whether I was gonna go to the NFL or be a UFC fighter, or be a business owner, or be the biggest drug dealer. Like I wanted to be successful one way or another.
Right.
2016, after my fight, at that time I was cutting trees for a company, and then I got
Perfect job for you.
Right. I got presented with the opportunity to be a car salesman.
Okay.
And my brother was a car salesman, and I just felt like I would be like leveling up or moving up in the world. And, you know, instead of wearing, you know, an orange shirt and a hard hat, I'd be wearing a nice button down and, you know, some nice clothes and smell good and sit there and talk to customers. So I did that for probably like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I did really, really good. I was selling cars. I was a great salesman. I just didn't enjoy it. Anytime there wasn't a customer, I'd fall asleep at the desk. Like, yeah, man, like it was just too boring for me.
Yeah, well, you lasted more than me. I was gonna be a car salesman at
really?
one point. I did the training, and then after I was done with the training, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, no, I hated it.
Yeah,
I hated it.
So
it was like a newer dealership, so it wasn't super busy.
yeah. I think going from cutting trees to
selling cars,
waiting for somebody to come in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's boring. I guess
very boring. I hated it. At the same time, around that time, you know, I ended up going to Louisiana with my brother-in-law, and there was like a big storm. He's like, hey, like we can go to Louisiana, like get some FEMA contracts and pretty much, you know, start repairing ACs for people and, you know, it's gonna make us rich.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it. So I went to Louisiana, probably spent like a week there.
Yeah. What part of Louisiana? It's like all over kind of thing?
I can't remember, to be exact.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
My girl's from Louisiana, so
okay.
That's why I was curious.
I can't remember, to be honest.
All good.
But I remember there was a big storm around like 2016.
Right.
But yeah, that didn't work out. I guess to get a FEMA contract, it's like a long process, a lot of applications and approvals and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, we went knocking door to door trying to, you know.
Down in Louisiana to try and fix things? Yeah, gotcha.
So I went there for probably like a week, maybe a little more. And it was pretty much a waste of time. So we drove back. I tried getting my job back at the car dealership, and I was like, oh, no, we kind of filled your position already. And I was like, okay, cool. I think I went and tried to get my job back at the tree cutting company, and they're like, oh, no, we're good. So I'm like, shit, like, I need to make money.
Right.
So I ended up working for a moving company.
Okay.
It wasn't my first moving company that I worked for. I worked for a moving company previous to this. When I was in high school, I worked for a guy, and he needed someone who could drive trucks. And I think I was 15 at the time. He was like, do you have truck driving experience? I'm like, yeah, for sure.
Did not?
I didn't have a driver's license.
Oh, okay.
I was 15.
Yeah, you're 15. Yeah.
I remember Googling like how to drive a box truck and watching a bunch of videos.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just showed up there and I started driving trucks, and moving furniture, and
there you go.
worked for him for a little bit, and then I worked for another guy who was paying me like I think $15 an hour, you know, and then eventually he's like, hey, I think I'm paying you too much. Will you take 12? I was like, no, I quit.
Damn.
Yeah. But anyways, after Louisiana, I started working for this moving company for this guy that I knew, and I was also doing those festivals with him.
Okay.
Yeah. So did that for a little bit, started as a mover, then, you know, started leading crews and getting, you know, excellent reviews. Just doing a great job. Eventually started working in the office for them, started developing systems for them, just figuring out, you know, different ways to grow the business, manage the business. I started bringing all my friends along as movers. So I pretty much like ran that business for him.
That's nice, man. You got to know the ins and outs of kind of how to run a business.
Yeah, and then and he paid me well. I'll give him that. But he always gave me shit about any little thing that I did wrong.
Gotcha.
Or not even like did wrong, but like I was working almost every day, like morning and night. And like if I showed up 5 minutes late, he'd be like, all right, this is why we're not making money. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. And we ended up having a falling out, and I left. And then like 2016 towards the end, I decided I want to start my own business. So I got, Athens Moving Experts, my company now, incorporated.
Right.
And then
that was with your brother, right?
At the time, it was with my brother. Yeah, he was helping me out to get started. But
that's exciting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, super exciting. But in order to get licensed with the state, you have to have, pretty much you have to take this course. Then you have to have a truck or a van that's registered, and it has to have cargo coverage, auto liability, and then you want to have general business liability.
You have to have all of that?
Yeah, you have to have all that in order to be licensed.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then my brother's like, all right, we'll just buy like pretty much like a junk van just to get the licensing process started.
Yeah.
And it was a long process, and he got the van, and when it came down to it, we couldn't get the van registered because I think it was like didn't have an engine or something.
All right.
Yeah.
No engine. Got it.
Yeah. So then I was like super pissed off.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like, fuck this.
Too much of a process for you?
No, it was just like, again, I kind of sort of felt let down. You know what I mean? Because I talked to my brother about it, and I was like, hey, like, this is the kind of money we could be making doing this.
Right.
I'll do everything. We could be 50-50 partners. Just help me get started. And it was like a dragged out process, and at the time I just I was just disappointed, I guess, that hey, why didn't we get a van that had an engine in it so we could get it registered?
Right.
So I was kind of like, fuck this. And that guy that I worked with kept asking me to come back, so I went and worked with him for a couple more months, and we kept arguing and having our differences. So eventually I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna figure out my own thing, and I quit. So at that point, I started like putting ads out on like Next Door Neighbor, Craigslist, Facebook, Thumbtack, whatever, and I was doing everything. So like, if you needed it moved on, I was doing it unlicensed, of course.
Right.
I was taking out people's trash. I was, raking people's yards. I was cutting grass. Pretty much any like labor job you wanted me to do, I was doing it. I was cutting people's trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I started having some sort of clientele, and then I went back to my brother and I was like, look, man, like, I want to start this moving company, but like, we got to do it right. At the time he was starting his own business. He was starting up a car dealership. So I was like,
oh, wow.
He was mainly doing it for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I went back and I was like, look, man, can we do this right? And he was like, yeah, let's go find a box truck and, one with an engine.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get it registered. We'll get all the insurance process set up. So that's what we did. We found a box truck. We bought it. We got it registered. We went and did the moving course. We got licensed with the state. Got all the insurances in place. And
nice.
At that point, I knew exactly what I needed to do from like a marketing perspective.
Did you have a name already?
Yeah, Athens Moving Experts.
Yeah. Where did that name come from?
So, a lot of the guys that I was working with, we went to high school together.
Oh, at Athens.
Athens.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just like, I didn't know how to like come up with a company name.
Yeah.
And the tree cutting company that I worked with was called Allen Tree Experts. So I was like, okay, I like the experts, So I was like, okay, Athens. I feel like Athens is kind of like a unique name, or it's like,
that's true.
People wonder, what it means. I didn't want to do like my family name or anything like that. I don't know why.
Right. It's probably best, like if you ever wanted to sell it or.
Yeah. So I ended up doing Athens Moving Experts. It was just pretty much the first name I came up with. I was like,
Nice.
okay, cool.
Cool, man. And
Yeah.
then so you got your license and did the whole process.
Yeah.
And then you just started working, right?
Yeah. Started marketing. I knew exactly like the lead providers I needed to work with, and you know how I wanted to promote the business, and you know running Facebook ads and Instagram ads and Google ads and Yelp ads and pretty much everything.
Right.
And yeah, we started getting calls and business, and you know started taking off. And then I had one thing I was fortunate for is my friends, because all of the, you know, I had like 6-7 guys working with me from the very beginning, you know, to help me out. And, you know, I knew I wanted to do business differently than all the other people that I've worked for.
Yeah.
I wanted to be honest. I wanted to, you know, compensate people fairly. I wanted to provide good quality work. And, you know, obviously profit is important, but I didn't want it to be the only thing that I cared about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think that's kind of like, it helped us like be different.
Right. Yeah. Take care of your people and they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because like every job we went on, we were getting like a 5-star review, 5-star review, 5-star review. I'm still young at this time. I think I'm like 19, maybe 20.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, this is 27. So I was 20 years old at this time.
Okay.
Or at this point. And you know, I'm still living on my parents' house. All my supplies are in my parents' garage, so I didn't have like an office or warehouse, anything like that. And one day we did this move for this guy, and I felt like everything went smooth. It was great.
Yeah.
We took care of him, and I woke up the next morning, and I noticed I had a 4-star review. Oh man, I was furious. So I go outside and I call this guy. I'm like, hey, is this, you know, so-and-so? He's like, yeah. I was going, hey, this is Mike with Athens Moving Experts. Oh, hey, Mike, how can I help you? I was like, hey, how'd your move go yesterday? I was like, it went well. Yeah, the guys were great. And I was on the move. Like, you guys did a great job.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because I noticed you left me a 4-star review. Can I ask you why? And he's like, I mean, I thought you guys did good, so I left you a 4-star review. And I was like, yeah, but see, the thing is, I have a 5.0 average. So when you leave me a 4-star review, you're messing up my rating. You know, I said it like pretty much straight. I was like, well, I'm the one writing the review, and pretty much like I'm entitled to my opinion or my feedback or whatever. And I was like, and then I just like flipped, man. And I was like, listen, man, like, you're fucking up my company's reputation. I work hard. And bro, I just started going off on this guy, just like cussing at him and just flipping his shit. And, you know, I was like, you better delete your review, you know, or change it to a 5-star.
Right.
And this is like 9 in the morning. I'm sitting on the front porch and I'm yelling, like, top of my lungs. Like, I'm angry, bro. Like, all I see is red at this point. I hang up, my dad walks outside and he's like, who are you just on the phone with? I was like, oh, a customer. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I was on the phone with a customer. He's like, why are you talking to your customer this way? And I was like, he left me a 4-star review. He's like, even if he left you a 1-star review, like, you can't talk to your customers that way.
Right.
And I was like, no, like, fuck that. I have a 5.0 rating or whatever. And he's like, listen, man, like, if you want to last in business, you got to learn how to handle these types of situations, and you can not talk to your customers this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a funny story I remember starting out.
Did you actually like process that and like, okay, like you take that advice in?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while. I mean, I had numerous experiences where like I kind of snapped, but I'm at a point now, man, where it's like we're going to run into problems in business, you know.
And as an owner, you're just putting out fires. You're putting out a lot of fires.
Yeah.
So.
You're going to run into problems with your employees. You're going to run into problems with, you know, the different vendors you work with, the marketing companies you work with. You're going to run into problems with your customers. You're going to run into problems on the road, in the trucks, with, you know, so many different things that you can run into. So now it's like, I've been doing it for, shoosh, man, like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
owning my own business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been in the moving industry for over 10 years.
Right.
But owning my own business, you know, for like 8 years now. So you learn a lot.
Yeah. It seems like owning your own business was helpful for you in the long run, just in your life in general.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Quitting smoking was helpful too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, one thing that actually surprised me, I thought like when I quit smoking, I'm just going to have like all this mental clarity and, you know, I'm just going to be able to think better and my memory's going to be like improved and all these things. And maybe it did a little bit. It's not much different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what changed the most is my ability to handle situations. My anxiety has decreased. And it's crazy because like people smoke for anxiety. People smoke for, you know, depression or whatever.
You talking about weed?
Yeah. But I feel like once you get super reliant on it, it starts doing the opposite effect. Just like any drug. Like, you know, if you're taking Adderall to focus, if you start taking enough of it, like, I feel like it just starts doing the opposite effect for you.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you get used to a medicine.
So
it really just doesn't work, so you take more. And,
and you know, I've been smoking, like I said, since I was 12 years old, and the longest I ever quit was when I went to prison for 3 months.
Right.
Besides that, you know, almost every day of my life I smoked.
Right.
And I never thought I could quit, but I got to a point where it was like, it was starting to get too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the biggest things is like less stress, less anxiety, just ability to handle situations a lot better, you know.
And plus, you have more responsibility, so it's not like you could go smoke whenever you want. Kind of thing. So talk to me about how the business was going. You were there for 7 years. You and your brother picked it up. Was he still doing the cars dealership?
Yeah. So I was pretty much running the whole moving business. Like he came out on a couple of jobs, and I would ask him for his advice on different things. You know, as my older brother and as a, you know, business owner himself.
Right.
But I was pretty much running the whole business.
Gotcha.
I had a friend who I originally asked to start the business with me, and he said, you know, he's in college. He goes, you know, to NC State, and he didn't think it was a good time for him.
Gotcha.
But then after I got the business going, he actually came up to, like, we would go to the lake and go on jogs sometimes. He's like, you know, remember that time you know, offered to start the business with me? And
Right.
he's like, I wish I took that opportunity with you. And I was like, you know, it's not too late. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, let me talk to my brother about it and we can figure something out. So we ended up splitting the business 3 ways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
He like pretty much bought in for a super low price, but he bought in the business, and I think he's making like monthly payments or whatever.
Yeah.
So we started, you know, running the business, me and him. He brought a lot of like his expertise because he's the same guy that his parents owned the grocery store where I worked.
Okay.
You know, coming out of jail.
Yeah.
So he brought his expertise, and I guess his education was helpful as well. And then probably a couple months later, my brother's like, hey, look, you know, I just want to focus on my car business. You're doing good. You got it. You don't really need me. I'm just going to give you my portion of the business. So you'll pretty much be like 67% owner.
Kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
Between businesses.
Your friend will be 33% owner. So I went up to my friend. I was like, look, you know, this is what's happening, but I want to be 50-50 partners. So I'm going to split that third with you. I don't want anything from you.
Damn.
That money you owe the business, don't even worry about it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice of you, man.
Yeah.
Interesting. What, was there a reason for it?
I feel like I doubted my abilities.
I was going to say something like that.
Yeah. Because I wasn't like college educated. I thought that
You didn't go the typical route.
Yeah. I felt like I need someone with an education to pretty much help me in the areas that I lacked in.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So like if he has this path and knowledge that you don't have, that would help the business. I guess it would make sense to go 50-50.
Well, the knowledge that I thought I didn't have.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? So, and he was still in college at the time. I was like, look, man, like just focus on your college. If you want to work 1 day a week, that's fine. But once you finish, we'll really try to scale the business.
Yeah.
And I definitely give him credit. He helped out a lot in different areas of the business.
That's good.
So yeah, we started growing it. We're still out of my parents' garage. We eventually moved. We bought like a shipping container and we put it in his parents' store, at his parents' store.
Yeah.
And, we left all our supplies there. We got like an office space at like one of these like office buildings that rent out spaces. And, we started scaling a little bit more. And then 2018, I might have like gotten in a fight with my girl or whatever. But I got like into doing drugs again, like pretty heavy.
Damn.
Yeah, so I started popping Xanax and doing shit like that. And one day I had court for like a speeding ticket. And I remember like being able to go to court and say, hey, I want to get this case continued or something. So one day, man, like I was messed up and I had popped, Xanax in the morning and I went to court. And, I go in there and I'm like, hey, I want to get my speeding ticket continued or my case continued. And I had work that day and I had a bunch of stuff to do.
Right.
So they're like, oh, your lawyer needs to be present. And I was like, well, I think it was like my lawyer told me to say this or something like that. They're like, no, your lawyer needs to. And I just remember just like going off.
Damn. On the judge?
Like the DA.
Oh, the DA?
Or whoever is like, it wasn't the judge because it wasn't in the courtroom. Like when you go in, there's like, I think there are a bunch of DAs that you could talk to before going into the courtroom.
Okay.
And I just started, cussing her out.
Damn.
Yeah, in the middle of court. So then I don't really fully remember everything, but then I ended up going into like the courtroom and cussing the judge out.
Shit.
Yeah, and then they're like, all right, contempt of court, 30 days, no bail.
Damn.
Out of nowhere, bro, I'm in handcuffs. I'm thrown in jail.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So,
Fuck.
Yeah, bro, I'm in there and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I remember just like flipping a fuck in there and just, I need to talk to my lawyer. I need to get on the phone. And I was fighting the officers in there. And they had to get like the defense response team, pretty much.
Damn.
Like a group of guys who are, I guess, trained to handle these situations.
Dressed like SWAT, right?
Yeah. So I started like fighting with those guys, throwing punches and shit.
Shit, dude.
Yeah. So then they hold me back. And I remember getting rocked like hard multiple times.
By them?
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, did he just say he wants to kill himself? And I was like, no, I never said that. And they're like, yeah. And then all the other cops, they started agreeing. They're like, yeah, I heard him. Oh, all right, throw him a suicide watch.
Damn. So
then I go to suicide watch for like 2 days. A horrible experience.
What's that like? Because you're just like in a cell, no windows? Or maybe
cell, no windows. You don't have like regular jumpsuit or clothes on. You're wearing like this thick like turtle suit.
Oh shit.
Because they don't want you to like kill yourself.
Right.
You don't have bed sheets.
Damn.
It's cold as hell. I was wrapping myself with toilet paper.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Terrible experience.
Right.
Like terrible experience.
That's crazy.
Suicide watch is probably the worst thing I've experienced.
And you can't do anything in there. You're just sitting in there.
I'm just banging on the cell.
Right.
There's no one to talk to. No, like you know what I mean? Just like it just feels like being stranded.
Right.
Like in a hole.
Damn, dude.
Very tough.
Yeah.
And then got cleared by the psychiatrist the next morning, but then I had to go into the hole or like solitary confinement, where it's 23 and a half hours in lockdown, and then you have half an hour a day to either, shower, talk on the phone, or do both.
Yeah.
So I did 30 days in solitary confinement.
Ew.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was probably the worst experience of my life. Like I'd do the 3 months that I did over those 30 days any day of the week.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's like your mind probably started going crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like it doesn't take long either for it to happen.
No. I'd read once, like, it takes like 10 days in solitary confinement before, like, your mind starts going crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you did 30.
Yeah.
Damn. That's rough, dude.
Bro, and it wasn't like, again, like, remember when I went to prison the first time, it was like, I knew I was going December 17th, and I had like 2 months to prepare mentally for it. I was getting ready to go to work, and not just any job. It's like, this is my business that I've been trying to like grow and scale, and I get thrown in jail, and I don't think anyone had like the passwords for like all the, like softwares and
Oh shit.
the databases that we use.
Yeah.
So like,
Damn.
bro, it was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh man.
I remember getting out, and my business partner at the time wanted to talk to me. It's like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
You put me in a really bad position.
Right.
I'm trying to manage work, I'm trying to manage school, I have to work at my parents' store, and you just disappear out of nowhere, blah, blah, blah. You think I wanted to do this? And it's like, you need to stop fucking around, you need to get your shit together and whatnot, and
At that point, when he said all that, did you realize how impactful your responsibility is?
Yeah. And then I think like that day, he's like, I need to think about like if I want to do this or not anymore. So I remember like looking at the notes or like the jobs for the next day. And I think we had like 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I was the one that was selling all of it. They didn't really have any experience. My business partner didn't have any experience in selling jobs, booking jobs, doing these things, or how to even really handle the money. So the next day we needed to rent 2 U-Hauls, and I checked the bank account, and we're negative like $1,000 in there.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, holy shit. And I start panicking. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I call my brother and I tell him like, yo, like, I don't have any money in the business account. He's like, you could borrow my credit card. You could just pretty much put the U-Hauls on my credit card and pay me back later. I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. At this point, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to run this company anymore. So I woke up the next morning actually, and there was a pending check for like $2,000. So that cleared, and we ended up having like $1,000 in the account. And
Dope.
Yep. So just got back to business and making money. And by 2019, we're doing really good. I think we broke like $1 million in sales.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you feel like that those 30 days in jail, like that was it. That was the
I
last
think
of it.
that, yeah.
They're like finally a turnaround.
I mean, I got in a little bit of trouble after that, but nothing that serious.
Right.
I was really like more conscious of my decisions and just trying to be more responsible. I just always had that in me where it's like I wanted to like go out, I wanted to fuck around, like I wanted to have fun. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's like an outlet kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you need some type of outlet to kind of take care of that part of it.
I think so, yeah.
I guess that's where MMA comes in.
Yeah.
Play.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So yeah, man, and then 2020 when COVID hit,
Was that a huge loss for you, or is
it was
thriving even more?
We did great.
Yeah,
during
because
COVID.
people were moving, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But we had to adapt, of course, start wearing masks on jobs and stuff like that.
Sure.
Sanitize the trucks with like food grade sanitation or whatever. Eventually we developed our own software, like a full CRM.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're using it right now to run the company.
Very cool. Awesome, man.
And we own it, so like we developed it from scratch.
Yeah. I think is that something that you license, like
Yeah.
copyright, I guess you could say,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you could turn around and sell that too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's another stream of income.
The software was pretty much something that I wanted to do because like we developed this unique way of like customer intake process, and all the other softwares were just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, I wanted something more customizable.
Right.
So that's kind of what we did.
Very cool.
In 2022, the beginning of 2022, my business partner at the time, we started having our differences, you know, about different things. But he was like, hey, look, I don't want to do this anymore. You know,
Yeah.
we could sell the company, you can buy me out, but I don't want to do this anymore.
Gotcha.
So I was like, shit. At this point, I finally got like the business to a point where it's like, all right, I don't have to work my ass off every single day.
Right.
Like I just do a little bit of work, he does a little bit of work, he has his role, I have my role. We have office managers that have their roles. So then I kind of like, you know, panicked for a little bit. And that's like, again, where that anxiety like starts kicking in, and you smoke to try to calm it down, but then you just get more and more anxious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, man, like that's what you want to do, then that's what we'll do pretty much. Like,
So you bought them out?
so I ended up buying them out.
Nice.
In 2022.
I think that was the best decision. Oh, not the best, but a good decision.
It was a good decision. I agree. I didn't know if it would be or not at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm thankful for that decision.
Yeah. Plus, it seemed like your business at a point, like you said, was in a good spot too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And you know a lot about, you know, pretty much everything about your business probably.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And then towards the end of 2022, we expanded to Charlotte.
Nice.
We started another location there.
Nice.
Got a warehouse and office over there. Got some, you know, office employees and movers, crew leaders, trucks, supplies, everything pretty much there. We're just trying to like mimic the Raleigh location.
Very cool. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah. That's where I'm at now. Just managing the, you know, Raleigh and Charlotte location. I have a really great team of guys, you know, from the office, from the operations standpoint to the, you know, field managers, crew leaders, the movers, you know, pretty much everyone that works with me, you know, plays a big role, and they help, you know, run the business and
I don't know, man. Like,
maintain it.
I've hired you guys.
You have?
To move my part. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I remember I called you one time. I was like, "Hey, I need the movers." And you're like, "Oh yeah, okay." So, but
How'd they do?
They did great.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there because I had to work, but my roommate and all that was kind of taking care of all that.
Facts.
So
I don't even remember that.
I didn't really get to experience it, but I do remember looking you guys up and stuff like that. And I'm like, my initial thought was these guys are pros.
Yeah.
These guys, this is the top notch company that you want to go with. And so that was my initial thought. In case you're wondering, like an outside perspective.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We were rated by multiple different sources the #1 moving company in Raleigh, multiple years in a row.
Nice.
I mean, we do really good work. I've seen how other moving companies work. I've worked for different moving companies. Like, we really do, you know, take care of our customers. We stand behind our work. Obviously, things go wrong sometimes, but we'll make sure we address it. We fix it, whatever we need to do to just provide that quality customer service.
Yeah.
Like I said, got a great team of guys that, you know, help manage everything from A to Z.
Yeah, man, I get that. Yeah, that's what I got from, you know, looking you guys up and kind of even like seeing your social media and stuff like that, and seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah,
you guys like there's like a workout area in the office. And
yeah,
stuff like that.
It's not there anymore.
It's not there
yeah, we had.
I was like, oh man, that's actually a good idea for movers because they have to lift shit.
Yeah. But that space is now occupied with moving supplies and boxes and stuff. But,
yeah, but still, man, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like where you at now, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
nice.
I had my first son in 2021
Right.
in
Yeah.
October,
Yeah.
and then
Do you feel like you were prepared for that kind of to go down that route in life?
No, not really. But I
Gotcha.
knew I wanted to have kids, and I don't think there's a way to really prepare. I mean, maybe you could take like some parenthood classes or something like that.
But like, I guess when I say prepare, it's more like
financially, mentally.
mentally, I think. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, I always knew like I'll do whatever for my family in general. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure they're good.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something I've always had in me to,
Yeah.
do whatever I needed to do to take care of my family.
Right.
But did I have any idea what I was getting myself into? Not really.
Yeah. So when you found out that you were gonna have kids, what was that initial thought for you?
Man, it was a crazy feeling, to be honest. I was shocked. I was happy. I was nervous. All sorts of different emotions.
Yeah.
Running through your body and mind.
Right.
I remember the day he was born. I was just like, holy shit. Like,
This is a human being.
this is a human being that's my, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I'm responsible for it.
yeah, like, that's my son.
Right.
I don't think it hit me fully till like a couple months later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did it hit you?
I don't know. It's just like one day I was like,
Holy shit.
I'm a dad. you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I would forget.
Right.
Not forget about him, but I'd forget that I'm a dad. It's
Right.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like
That
in the
makes sense.
beginning, it just felt surreal.
And then you have your second daughter?
No,
Or
two boys.
2 boys,
So
okay.
my second son was born in March of 23.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's where I'm at.
Cool, man.
Wife, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Running a business. I started, like I said, at Gracie MMA in 2021.
Right.
I took a long break, just with work, having a kid, and then buying out the business. Just added a lot of responsibility. So I took a long break from that, and I started back up a couple months ago.
Nice.
So I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I'm doing Muay Thai. I haven't been as consistent as I want to be, just because the summer gets really busy for moving.
Sure. Yeah.
So I haven't been as consistent.
Yeah. Do you feel like, where are you at mentally? I mean, you have kids, you got a family now, you got a successful business, you're doing some MMA. So do you feel like you're in a really good spot mentally?
I think so. I think I'm in a much better spot than I've ever been in.
Yeah.
I'm still I find myself still chasing that success. I don't feel like I've made it yet.
Gotcha.
I'm super blessed.
Right.
Extremely thankful and grateful for all the things that I have in life.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like
is
I haven't scratched the surface.
Gotcha. Is it because you have a certain goal in mind, or is it because you grew up pretty much your whole life kind of trying to be successful, and it's like this habit of trying
I think
that's
both.
always there?
I think both.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely have a goal in mind to, have financial freedom.
Yeah.
To be able to have, numerous investments and make sure my kids are set for life.
Yeah.
And to, be able to travel around the world and just, your typical things that people want to do.
Yeah.
Own a boat.
Yeah, nice.
But also I feel like part of it is just that drive from, wanting it to make something out of myself as a child, and always feeling like I'm falling short of that, and it just doesn't feel like what I've done is enough.
Gotcha. Yeah.
For my like expectations, you know.
Right.
I sometimes I share these thoughts with like my wife or a family or, you know, a family member or a friend. They're like, bro, like you've accomplished so much in the last few years, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. I'm aware of my blessings. I know there's more.
Right.
You know.
I get that. I feel like I'm in a kind of a similar situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But and then when you do take a break, it's like, for me, it's like I feel a little bit guilty, like taking a break. I'm like, no, I should be working and striving and stuff like that. But like, yeah.
We all need breaks sometimes. I feel like breaks are a good point to like reset.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes just resetting helps you, you know, because sometimes you do the same thing over and over, like, it kind of like blinds you.
Yeah, it does blind you.
You know,
Get
but
burnt out.
when you know, take a break or reset, it kind of gives you that opportunity to just to view things differently. I enjoy going vacations to like nice places where there's a lot of wealthy people. You know, like going to LA or Miami or New York. And
is it like a visualization kind of thing for you?
Yeah, you see like, you know, people at the restaurant with like, you know, a Lamborghini or Ferrari, you know, just giving their keys to the valet driver. Yeah, I've been to Boca Raton. Yeah,
that's fancy right there.
It's insane, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Multi-million-dollar houses and yachts and stuff like that.
Right. So talking about visualization a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you do any kind of practices of like, obviously some visualization, but like is it meditation as well, some hypnosis, some, you know, anything like that?
Not so much.
Okay.
Gotcha. You know, I try to pray to, you know, to better myself, to help with, you know, my focus, to you know, worship, just to show gratitude for my blessings. But I don't like do much like meditation or hypnosis to where like I try to visualize. I do like, I guess maybe like, you know, daydreaming or like, you know, sometimes, usually it just happens like, you know, you're talking to your boy or just watching the show on Netflix called Selling Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, just watching that, I'm just like, damn, like $50 penthouse, or $50 million penthouse,
right.
$30 million penthouse. It's like,
what would it be?
Yeah, what would it be like to not just live in there, but just like have the ability to own something like that? What else like could you do with that time, that money, that, you know what I mean? Like, what's it like to live that kind of life to where you can buy a $50 million penthouse?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that visualization.
That takes your mind into different, a whole different level.
Yeah, and then just like I said, just going to like a nice place and just seeing like some super fancy cars or yachts or boats and stuff like that, and you're just like, man, I wanna know what that feels like.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, how did they do it? You know what I mean? What makes them different? You know,
those are all good questions to ask yourself, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And a lot of these success stories you hear about, it's like, oh, started in, you know, his garage or stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, he's a billionaire now. So it's like, what made that person different? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming by, man.
Yeah, of course.
I wish you all the success. I can't wait to like 10 years from now see where you're at.
Yeah.
You probably buy a boat at that point.
Hopefully, yeah. Let's hope.
Get you a boat. Let's get this guy a boat, huh? Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your company?
So you can find me on pretty much any of the social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, at Mike Joudeh. My moving company is Athens Moving Experts. Again, we're on all social media platforms, so you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Yeah.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, bro.
Right,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
All right.